Am I the asshole for telling my husband his family is draining us? I, 28F, recently married my husband, 30M, after nearly 6 years together. We co-run a design consulting business, which I helped build from scratch. I handled client comms, admin, and systems so he could focus on creative work. Things picked up financially a couple years ago, and I was proud of us both. As soon as the money started flowing, he began heavily supporting his family. They live in India, and he's the oldest of 12 siblings, several still under 10. So far he's bought them a car, paid off their debts, funded his parents' full wedding, rings, venue, photographer, bought them land to build a home. Sends them $1,200 per month. Now his mom has started reaching out to me too, asking me to remind him she needs money for nursery fees because she spent everything prepping the land. She also mentioned needing $5,500 more to buy another piece of land to build a rental property for income. This is while they're already planning a huge house that their current budget likely won't cover, and again, there's an unspoken expectation that my husband will step in to fund the rest. Meanwhile, we rent. We don't have kids. We're trying to stabilize our income. He's asked me to contribute more toward our own bills. I've told him before that his early financial gestures set the bar really high, and now the expectations just keep growing. I'm not against helping, but it feels like we're always building someone else's future while our own life keeps getting delayed. Am I the asshole for wanting him to set limits, at least until we've secured something for ourselves? Edit. He's got a great heart, pays all our bills and still takes care of his family. The land he paid for was around $60,000 USD, which was a huge blow financially as he had to save for a few months to make it. Yes, he is the breadwinner. I make around 20% what he makes as he's taken over the company because I didn't want to work there anymore. To clarify, as people are trying to say I am useless. No, his company doesn't pay me. I was trying to say that I earn 80% less than him from other sources I made for myself. I work 28 hours from home whilst also doing all the household tasks, cooking, cleaning and grooming him, etc. My outgoing expenses are expensive softwares I use for work, groceries and my own clothes when necessary. I am personally around $18,000 in debt right now, which he knows about. No, I don't expect him to pay it as he cleared my debt once already. I had been $4,000 in debt before due to me not being able to work as I had 2 major losses on my family and was truly unable to work, so I ended up using my credit cards that year to sustain myself. Not the asshole. Look sis, you're being taken advantage of and it's time to say it out loud. You built this business together, yet you're still renting while his family gets land and cars? That's fucked up. His mom contacting you directly for money is crossing a line. You're funding their rental property dreams while you pay rent? Seriously? Tell him straight. Either you both come first, or this whole thing falls apart. I had a friend from India sending money home like that. You are telling us he never told you up front he would spend most your family money on his parents? You know your choices. Why are you here? WHY on planet Earth did you marry this asshole? Why? You built a business with him. SMDH. You need to get out now. Not the asshole, it's your money too. What about your family? Why isn't your family allowed to have free money? Not the asshole, but you need to understand that it's the culture you chose to marry into. You and Hubs need to sit down and define your goals, personal and professional. Meet with a financial planner to get a plan. Agree on an affordable budget for his family and stick to it. They will bleed you dry, and you're both working for them. Charity begins at home. Good luck. Your life together should be the priority. You could have made a solid down payment on a house with the amount he sent to his family. He is not responsible for purchasing a property for them to use only as rental income. It's completely reasonable to strike a balance between helping family and building your own security. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for asking a coworker not use the bathroom in my office? I work in a school, not as a teacher, where my designated workspace, office is a former teacher workroom. Having a traditional office wasn't working because I was constantly having to find a larger space to do my job, so my admin moved me a few years ago. I love having the space, and it comes with the benefits of a printer and bathroom. I have never been a gatekeeper of the space and don't mind when nearby staff members need to use it even though there's another workroom a few doors down. I have one coworker who frequently, several times per week, uses the bathroom. Not to be crude, but the smell she leaves behind is toxic. I have put air fresheners in the bathroom and bought a bottle of Potpourri, but it doesn't help. I genuinely think she needs to see a doctor. We are both 12-month employees, so no summers off, and the heat has not helped with this issue. I pulled her aside last week and explained that I would appreciate if she found an alternative location to do her business. I'm fully aware that everybody poops, but that is my designated workspace, and I don't want to have to smell it all day, especially when there are other bathrooms on campus that aren't somebody's office. She got upset and told some of our coworkers that I'm singling her out and not letting her use the bathroom. Some of them agree with me because they have smelled the aftermath, and some of them think I should have taken a different approach, asked for a different workspace, asked for more air fresheners, etc. So am I the asshole for asking that she use a different restroom? We literally have a secret bathroom everyone at the office knows to use when you have a 5-7 minute project. This isn't hard to go find and use for the sake of others. Start saying you feel unwell when she poops. Go to management and say the stench is unbearable and is making you want to vomit. Beg them that if there's any way for them to redirect people who want to do number 2 away from your working space, as this is affecting your job. Not the asshole. Coworker is weird. My entire working career, if I've had to take a dump at work, I've sought out a toilet as far away from others as possible. I try to regulate my body so that I only have to do it at home. Don't get me wrong, if I have to go I'll use whatever's available. But this coworker has the option of another bathroom a few doors down which does not have a door opening into someone's office. And presumably also does not have someone trying to work directly outside the door. Not the asshole. I'm singling her out. #YES. Because the problem is specifically her. I wouldn't have said anything. I'd have just put an out of order sign on the door and put some TP in the toilet to make it look stopped up. Get a plunger and leave it in the bowl for good measure. Put a little and some TP in the floor. Just say you think it's low on there. Fix it, list since there's another down the hall. If anyone were to ask, just deny. It has been stopped up for a while but the plug must have dissolved over time. Lol. We have a control room with a shared single bathroom. Guys work in the control room 24/5. Rule on the door is that this bathroom is only for peeing. Anything else use the communal bathrooms down the building. We all stick to the rule. Am I the asshole for dropping out of my friend's wedding as maid of honor? I'm the maid of honor in my friend Patty's wedding. My husband, Mark, is also the best man for Patty's fiancé, Dan. We were planning a joint co-ed bachelorette trip for the wedding party. Patty and I were looking for Airbnbs and initially found one for about $900. Divided by 7 people, that came to roughly $145 each. One of the bridesmaids paid early. Later, we found a cheaper Airbnb that came out to around $60 to $70 each when split between 7 people. 3 of us, me, my husband, and a groomsman named John, paid the new lower price. Another groomsman, Bob, didn't pay for the Airbnb at all. Patty told me not to worry because Bob would cover our grocery bill instead of paying for the Airbnb. To stay organized, I made a grocery list to stick to a reasonable budget. But when some of the group went shopping, they bought a bunch of unnecessary things, including a $30 hoodie and a $15 speaker. The grocery bill ended up being $375. Later, Bob questioned how we were splitting the grocery bill. We were confused because Patty had said multiple times that Bob would cover it. Then Bob said he thought the bill should be split among 5 people, excluding Patty and Dan, even though they added a lot of the extra items. To make things more confusing, it came out that Patty and Dan had told Bob he didn't have to pay for the Airbnb at all because he was driving them to the trip location. So now, Bob wasn't paying for the Airbnb or all the groceries, and no one else had agreed to that deal. Patty then tried to blame me for how the Airbnb costs were divided, even though she gave me the total, and I simply divided it by the people who were left after Bob's exemption. Apparently, Bob was also supposed to pay back the bridesmaid who overpaid on the original Airbnb, but that never happened, and I wasn't told. Now, I feel like Patty manipulated the situation, misled me and others, and is trying to make me the scapegoat. It's made me question our friendship and whether I even want to be in the wedding at all. So, am I the asshole? Edit. Sorry, forgot to include that when we offered to split things up and divide by items and exclude things like the hoodie, we were yelled at and told that Bob was covering the hoodie and all the extra items that weren't food. If we were to do that, Bob would not be paying anything for groceries and would just be paying for the things Patty and Dan wanted. Edit. This is a bit of info as to how the bride and groom are as a people. The one who is going to marry them, John, was kicked out of the wedding because he had killed the groom in Minecraft, and he was butthurt. John was eventually invited back once the bride realized how stupid it seemed to kick him out over a video game. The payments and off-the-book deals and side convos are out of control. Whoever was organizing the trip wasn't actually organized, and it's very hard when you have people who also have an attitude like, it will all magically work out. However, dropping out of the wedding is a massive overreaction, unless I'm missing something. Use an app like Splitwise or something. There are many, to total things up. Have a convo with Patty about how your feelings were hurt and you didn't like being blamed when multiple people really fucked this one up. If that doesn't go well, then yeah, I can see wanting to drop out. This is basic stuff. Just set up a split wise with everyone in it and what they paid for. If Patty wants to pay Bob for driving them up, throw that in there too, but the rest of you should not have to pay for that. The $15 speaker I assume was for everyone's enjoyment, so that should be split and the hoodie should be paid by whomever it belongs to. You all sound too immature to be going on these kinds of trips if it's going to be such a mess. Download Splitwise. Patty is the Everyone should have the same terms when organizing something like this in order to avoid this type of situation. By meddling in the details, she created a nightmare. However, if she's a good enough friend that you were asked to be her maid of honor, dropping out of the wedding seems a tad dramatic. I feel like talking this out with her would be a more mature option to start with. This sounds like the most chaotic and unorganized event ever. No one seems to have a clue on how to plan this, and no one is taking the lead. Based on what's been going on, don't drop out of the wedding, but forego the idea of a bachelor party. This is way too much. Everyone sucks here. This really shouldn't be hard. Everyone pays equally for communal things and whoever got personal items pays 100% of it. If people don't like it, then they don't go. Maybe I'm just fortunate, but I don't see why this is an amount anyone is willing to throw away a best man, groomsman, bridesmaids level relationship over these amounts. We're talking about costs that equal like $150 per person, and people were already expecting to pay that with the original Airbnb. Not the asshole. Patty created this situation. WTF is wrong with her? She says one thing to Bob, another to the rest, then she adds items, but only guests are expected to cover it. Then something else happens between payments with one bridesmaid and Bob, and then Op is scapegoat. Reevaluate this friendship. Patty sucks. Bob needs to pay for Airbnb. Bridesmaid needs to get back her extra money. Groceries needs to be divided between 7. Hoodies be paid separately by people who wanted them, and couple needs to pay Bob for gas. If you people want to gift something to couple, then divide it by 5. No weird schemes and all in open. Am I the asshole for expecting my delayed inheritance to be adjusted for inflation? When my grandma died, she left, roughly, $1 million to my mother, 66F, and $350,000 each to me, 28M, my brother, 38M, and my sister, 30F. My mom didn't really need the money she received, so she asked if I'd be okay with her giving $500,000 each to my brother and sister so they could buy houses outright. The deal was I get my $500,000 when she dies, and then the rest of her assets would be split 3 ways. I agreed, since I still live with my mom due to depression and anxiety, and didn't need the money right now. So my brother and sister used up most of their $850,000 each. The $350,000 from grandma plus $500,000 from mom, to buy their houses. I invested my $350,000, and after 1 year, it's already made about $50,000 in profit. A few months later, I realized that $500,000 today won't be worth the same by the time I actually get it, years from now. I talked to my mom about it, and she agreed that adjusting the amount for inflation was fair. She changed her will so I'd receive the future equivalent of $500,000 in today's money and not just a flat $500,000. We didn't tell my siblings about this update. We figured it wasn't a big deal unless it came up, and didn't want drama if they disagreed. But we also weren't going to lie about it. Well, yesterday it came up. My mom casually mentioned it to my brother, and he got angry. He called me devious for hiding it. He argued that if my investments continue to grow at the same pace, I could end up with over $1 million in profit in 20 years, way more than what they'll gain from their houses. He thinks the $500,000 I get later shouldn't be adjusted, because my investment growth makes up for it. He also argued that they had to use all of their $850,000 to buy places to live, while I get to live at home basically for free, aside from paying bills, and can just let my money grow. But technically, they could have chosen to live at home too if they wanted to. Anyway, my brother told our mom to change the will back, and when she asked me, I just said, fine. I didn't want to fight and strain the relationship with him, or with my sister, if she finds out and takes his side. But now I'm having second thoughts. I still feel like I'm being reasonable asking for the value of $500,000 in today's money. But maybe I'm wrong? Am I the asshole for thinking it's fair to adjust the $500,000 for inflation, even if my investments might outperform their houses? Edit. Probably not important, but just to clarify, the amounts are in Australian dollars. So $1 AUD is about 65 cents USD. I know that's still a lot, but I just wanted to be clear. We weren't really a rich family or anything, it's just that my grandma's property ended up being worth a lot after she'd owned it for over 60 years. Also, I do contribute to my living expenses by paying half of all the bills. None of this makes sense. Your siblings didn't need to buy houses cash, that was a choice and is a massive privilege. No one is entitled to any inheritance beyond what a will states. Being that your mom isn't dead, she decided to gift your siblings $500,000 each. Sure hope they paid taxes on that. She can decided to give you more in her will. There's no way to adjust for future inflation. Your mom may live another 30 years and not have much money left. I'm gonna be honest. This whole thing is gross. Rich people infighting over money they got when someone died? Adjusting for inflation was a gross request, and your siblings being angry over future money they won't get is gross. These are not real problems. You should all be grateful. Some of us only inherit addiction and mental illness. You're all arguing over money you get when your mother is dead. It's not even your money, it's your mother's. And from the sound of it, it seems like you're all doing well financially. So how about you all just enjoy the time you have your mother and stop constantly talking about what you're going to do once she's dead. That's why you split the $1 mail 3-way at the same time. Each kid uses it as they see fit. End of the discussion. To those saying Op was wrong to raise the issue, fast forward 15-20 years. The siblings will have $2 mall ale house each. Op will have $500K. The system is dumb from the off. Mom should have just gifted $330K each to the kids, she wanted, and left it there. Older siblings can have a mortgage like normal people, or get a smaller house. And inheritance is not just about the money, it's the feeling of being seen as lesser. However, why WBTA if you change your mind now? Your mom is doing her best and you've agreed to it. Hiding it also wasn't great. Why not just get the $500K now like the others did and not worry about any adjustment? Invest it and have even more down the road when you need it.